So as you can see, unlike a mind map, the different branches are displayed almost like a sunburst or a pie chart. They're a great way of displaying and communicating data. You can show how much you want to concentrate on a particular branch, or even demonstrate priorities. You can zoom in on particular parts of your map. For example, if you just wanted to focus on this area, all you need to do is click here, and that immediately collapses the other part of your radial map, so you can concentrate on just this particular area. This works really well if you've built your radial map with your team in mind, as it means your team can focus on particular branches and segments that are specific to what they are working on. So when would you use a radial map compared to a mind map? So for me and the team here at Open Genius, traditional mind mapping using branches, especially organic branches, is a great way to generate ideas and get ideas down quickly. The radial view I find works really well once you've got that basic mind map together and you want to start making concrete plans and communicating that with your team. As I mentioned, it's great for focusing in on particular details, and also really good for communicating the priorities or the amount of effort that a particular branch or task might take. It's also a very visual view, so it's great for communicating ideas. So once you've started adding multiple layers to your radial map, you can also dictate how much you want to show at the same time. So for example, down here, you can see that will only show a maximum of 6 levels, but I can take that down to 5, so that it only shows up to 4 or 5 levels at a time. So using this, I can make sure that my radial map doesn't overwhelm me, and that I've got a clear view each time. So you can change your existing mind maps that you created in Ayoa into a radial map at any time. So for example, if I click up here, click View As, and I have the option here to switch to a radial map. So it takes all the information that I've already added to my previous mind map and it rearranges it into this radial map. You've still got your central idea at the beginning, your first parent ideas in the center, and then your child branches moving out. You can start adjusting or even zooming in. I'm just going to move back to my map I was using before. And you can go back to the home screen at any time by clicking home. So as you can see, in this particular radial view, it's made up of lots of images and lots of colors. Every time I zoom in on a particular node, more of the image is shown. So it's another great way of really demonstrating your ideas. Another way that you could use it is even using it as revision, or presenting your ideas that way. And if at any point you want to switch from a radial view to a different type of mind map, again, simply go up here to the settings, click View As, and you'll have that option to switch to the speed map view or the organic view. So for anyone who has any questions today, I'll be answering them at the end in the Q&A, but so that you don't forget what your question is, just you can send them on as we go along today, and I'll be sure to answer them all at the end. So what I'm going to do now is show you how you would create a new radial map. So the radial map is part of the mind map view. So if you've been working on a task board or a different mind map view, just navigate back to the home page by clicking home, and then simply click new up here. We can name our radial map. And down here, you can see I've got the option of speed map, organic map, or radial map. So simply click radial map. So anyone who is familiar with mind mapping, you start off with your central idea, just in the same way as you would in any other mind map. So this may be the project you're working on, a particular question, a department, it can be whatever you want. So if to edit the central idea, if you want to change the text, simply click on the pencil icon, just to show you that again. Click on the pencil icon, and here I can change the look of the text. I can bold it. I can even add emojis if I want to. Or if I want to add an image, to open this formatting panel, simply click on the information icon there. And just like you have in the mind mapping, other mind map views, you've got your style panel where you can add notes, add your comments and attach any documents that you want to add to the central idea. But right now we're going to focus on the style. So if you want to add an image, just click add image, and you can either upload an image from your device, you can add an emoji, or you can also do, if you click search, it will search a royalty-free site for you. So here I've got lots of different options to choose from for a royalty-free image. I'm just going to choose this one. And at the moment, I feel like my text isn't really very clear. So if I click edit, down here, I can actually choose to add an outline. So it's a bit clearer, the black or white. In here, I can choose whether I want that image to fill the whole circle, or if I want to make it smaller and have it only partially fill it. For me, I prefer it to be as a cover. I can also crop the image so I can decide exactly what part of the image I want to display. Okay, so this is our starting point. Now, if I want to start building my radial map, much like the other mind map views, you start adding branches. In radial view, they're less like branches and more like segments that you might find in a pie chart. So you can start adding your branches by clicking this green icon, but it's a lot faster to use shortcuts. So if I want to add another branch here, if I just click the tab button, and that adds a segment, the layer beneath. So I'm just going to name my segment. Now, if I want to add a segment on exactly the same layer, which is also known as a sibling branch, then if I use the Enter key, that adds a segment on exactly the same level. I'm going to name this one as well, just to show you that again. So if you click Enter, simply type the name of the branch. You can see I've already got 3 segments. And if I want to add a branch onto the next layer, then simply click tab, and you can see it's added the segment to the third layer. So each segment will start off automatically the same size of the segment beneath it. But then as I add more segments, they will continue to halve in size to account for new segments there. So as you can see, we're already beginning to build up this radial map and add more information. Okay, so to increase and decrease the size of a segment, all you need to do is hover over the top so you can see that arrow, and then it's just a case of dragging across or dragging across here. It's easy as that. Whenever you decrease or increase the size of a segment, any of its children will automatically be resized with it. Whenever you click on a node, automatically the radial map will swivel around so it's at the top, so you can focus on it and read it clearly. However, if you don't want the radial map to do that, you can turn that off in the settings by simply clicking up here and clicking disable rotation. And that just means then if I click on a node, it won't rotate. I can turn that back on by going to the settings up here and clicking enable rotation. So now that I've begun to add more nodes to this mind map, I want to just add a bit more information. So if I want to format it, all I need to do is click on the eye, and much like we had in the central idea, we've got an option in here to start adding images. So I'm going to click search. Just use an image at random. And if I want to just customize that a bit, I can click on edit. I can crop it. At the moment, I feel the white text is quite strong against that background, so I'm not going to change any of this. I can rescale the image if I want to. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with that, so I'll leave that the way it is. If you don't want to use images, it's really easy to add other color options as well. So if you click on the eye and go to box color, got lots of different color combinations that you can use. Remember that if you've been using white text and you go for a white background, just to re-edit the text when you go back. So I'm going to decide to go with this color, and to ensure that that color gets applied to any of its child branches, simply click apply style to children, and that will automatically update the nodes that come after it. So I'm just going to move back to the slightly bigger mind map, radial map that I was working on earlier. By going back to home. So to go into more detail with the focus in and focus out options, down here I can choose how many levels I want to display at once. So at the moment it's only showing 3, but I can take that all the way up to 6 so that I can view all of my radial map in one go. If I want to focus in on a particular section of my radial map, all I need to do is click on it, And then just to show you, so it's this icon here, it's like a little arrow. Right, if you hover over it, you'll see focus in. So I'm going to click on that. As you can see, that node that I focused in on is now the central point, and the first nodes that came after it are now the parent ideas, and the rest of the radial map has been collapsed. This gives me the opportunity to just focus on this section of the radial map, gives me a bit more space to add ideas, and just cuts back on the noise. If I want to, I can keep focusing in, even to the point where I've just got one node left. So at any point, if you want to go back and view your radial map all in one space, simply click the home icon here, which you'll find on any of your nodes, and click home, and that will expand your radial map so you'll see it all in one place. Down here, you've got options to zoom in and zoom out on the canvas. You can also do that using the scroll on your mouse or your tracker pad. And if you want to very, very quickly just move your radial map so it's more central and it fits on the canvas, down here we've got fit to screen, and that simply adjusts it so that you can see the radial map in full. If you want to share your radial map with other people, you can export it as a PDF. If you click up the attachments here and click export to PDF, you can choose to export it as an image, and you'll be able to print that or share that via email or messenger service. You can see my radial map is now being exported as a PDF. Okay, so as you can see, it's really easy to get started on Radial Map. Easy to quickly add ideas using the shortcuts, and there's lots of fun ways to add images and different color styles to really make your Radial Map pop. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have a little look at the questions you guys have asked me and see what I can help you with. Okay, so your central idea can't have two segments because your central idea is just one point. It's just like it would be in a regular speed map or organic map. So you can move about your segments. So for example, all I need to do, if I click on the segment here, if I drag and drop it in, so I need to make sure that I can clearly see it's between the two segments I want to add it to, and then it's been added in there. Likewise, I can drag and drop this in here, and it brings over all its sibling branches as well. So it's not possible to add a floating text box on the canvas. Look. So the other question was, is there a maximum number of levels you can have? There's no maximum level as such, but the bigger the radial map becomes, as you get to the outside rings, the more difficult it's going to be. So, I'd use your intuition for, at what point do you think actually I should just start a new radial map? If you're finding that it's got to the point where it's not that easy to read anymore, I'd maybe stop and think about just starting a new radial map from the point where you find where you're adding lots of information. So for example, if you're finding one particular branch is becoming quite heavy and lopsided, let's say, I would then think about starting a new radial map, but centered around that parent branch. Okay, so if you export it as a text document, it's just the same as it would be in your other mind maps. So it exports it in a written list with your branches all listed, and if you've got any images, it displays that as well. So for example, we've got our branches listed up there. And where this can be quite useful is if you're maybe discussing or presenting your mind map, sometimes having a written outline of what you're talking about can just help keep you on track. Okay, so a question I've had is, can you rename a previously saved mind map? Yes, so you can rename your mind map at any point. If you click up here in the mind map settings, then click on the pencil icon. Here you can edit your mind map, especially if you've accidentally named it Untitled Mind Map, or you just want to update it so you know what the content's about. So there's one question I'm not sure about. You can't take one branch and turn it into a radial map. You would have to convert a whole mind map at once. But if you did want to create a new mind map, new radial map based on a branch you had in a different mind map, you can do that at any time by just going to Home and clicking New. So another question I've had here is about the undo. That's actually something we're bringing out in the next few weeks, just improved options to undo and redo any actions. In the mind map view at the moment, if you delete a branch, then there is a delay where you've got an option to undo. But we will be making improvements to that very soon. Okay, does anyone else have any questions about radial view? Okay, so I'm just reading a question for someone. So you've got 4 major segments. Oh, I'm not quite sure about that question. That might be one to send to me after the webinar, just so I can run through that for you. So just to let everyone know, if there are any questions that you have after this webinar, or any other questions about Ayoa, you can contact us through email at support@ayoa.com. We've also got a huge range of support guides at support.ayoa.com. We also have a variety of YouTube tutorials as well. We'll be continuing to deliver these webinars on a weekly basis. Next week, we'll be doing a webinar on getting started in Ayoa, and then the week after that, on the 18th of March, we'll be doing a webinar that will be focusing on mind mapping in Ayoa. So does anyone else have any questions about how to use Radial Map? Just going to give you a few minutes there. Just to give an overview of what we've been through today. So much like mind mapping, you start at your central idea. To quickly add nodes, all you need to do is use the tab key, to add a tab after that, a sibling to that, click the enter key on your keyboard. Oh, I got a question here. So just to clarify, the functionality that you have in all the other mind mapping views is exactly the same in Radial. So if you click into the mind map panel, you've got the option to add tasks here in exactly the same way as you would have on any of the other mind mapping views, which is just click and choose what task board you want to add it to, and clicking add task. It's exactly the same as it is in speed maps and organic. So most of these options are the same. So you've got your notes where you can add extra information about a particular branch. You can still leave comments and message other people. You can still add attachments and web links here. And you can continue to add tasks and send them to your task boards. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions about Radial View? Just a reminder, you can switch back to any other view by clicking View As. So you can switch back to Speed Map or our Organic Map. And if you made a mind map in a different view, you can switch to a Radial view at any time by going up to this menu here and clicking View As. Okay, it looks like I've answered everyone's questions. There's one person there who's asked for a bit more information. I'm not quite sure that I understand your question, so I think the best thing is if you could pop me over an email at support@ayoa.com. We can discuss this in a bit more detail and find out how we can achieve what you're trying to achieve. So no, at the moment, we don't have a undo option for the whole tool, but this is something that we're working on and that's coming out in the next few weeks. Okay, I'm going to finish the, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's true for the other views as well. But the undo button is something that we're working on as a priority, and that will be coming out in the next few weeks. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone that's come to the webinar today. If there are any other questions that you had about Ayoa or anything else you need assistance with, just pop me over an email at support@ayoa.com and I will be happy to help.